I'm Scotty Rock.
And I'm Nate Danger.
Oh yeah, man. And today we're going to talk about...
a crazy band. Who's that band?
Life, Sex, and Death.
Life, Sex, and Death.
Living it all the way. Time to fly, hit the sky like a...
LSD.
All right, tell me about them, Scott.
Okay.
Like, what's going on here?
Okay, there's a band that came out in 92. They released an album on
1992.
Warner Brothers Records. It was called Silent Majority.
Oh my God.
Silent Majority.
This band was called Life, Sex, and Death, or LSD, and they were signed to Warner Records out of LA. They came from Chicago a couple of years earlier.
Chicago.
And okay, so they came out of Chicago, and they got signed. They moved to LA, got signed. But the difference is, the singer played the part of a homeless mental bum with mental problems.
Let's talk about gimmicks.
Let's talk about gimmicks. Okay. Rock and roll is full of gimmicks, and rock and roll and gimmicks go hand in hand, and I love every single one of them.
I do too. I love makeup. I love outfits. I love gimmicks. I love whatever.
Yep.
And I remember being in high school. You called me up. You're like, "Have you heard this band?" And I was like, "Who's this band?" And you immediately told me to go out and buy this cassette, right?
Yep.
And played me a sample of their music, completely different than anything that was happening at that time in the scene.
Right.
So this is a weird time in music because it's kind of the end of the glam metal era.
Glam metal is definitely changing.
Yeah, but
moving forward,
before
grunge kind of came out.
grunge took over,
That's right. Yeah.
right?
It was like that in between. 92 is when all this happened.
Yeah.
So this band comes out. I remember seeing a quick commercial about Beavis and Butthead. And there was you know how they watched the videos and it was like Life, Sex, and Death. It said Tank under it, and they played like just a brief clip. And the guy,
Tank.
and the guy's voice, I thought, wow, that's a cool voice. And what's with the glasses and like the short hair? You know, I thought it was kind of glam rock because everyone else in the band
Stanley.
had long hair. And the singer was Stanley, and his shtick was to be a homeless bum.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
So I went and picked up the cassette, and I went home, I put it on, and man, I love this album from start to finish.
What a crazy album.
I know, it's such a
It's all over the map.
All over the map. It's an interesting listen. The music is so current at that time, but slightly ahead of sort of where things were going. They could have almost been like an alternative heavy band. They could have been lumped in with grunge, the incoming kind of grunge scene. They also had a bit of glam rock vibe to them because the drummer was like twirling his sticks, you know.
The guitar player they all had long hair.
The guitar player was rocking out.
It was such a weird formula.
Yeah.
And I get shticks, right?
Yeah.
I get it. In hindsight, I'd probably say that their shtick did more damage to their career than benefited it.
Right.
It was interesting at the beginning, but now you look at all these things and they're like, well, he wasn't really homeless and he wasn't like that and he was a normal guy but he created this persona,
right.
And then he was taking shits in dumpsters.
All sorts of stuff like that too.
Yeah, it was interesting, you know.
Okay, well, here's the thing about Stanley. They came from Chicago, and everyone in Chicago already knew him as a glam rock band.
That's right.
And there's videos of him like doing his glam moves. But he was like totally committed to this. And you know, people go to LA all the time to start bands, and they're like, "I'm a rock star. You know, I'm gonna play the part." But this guy flipped it. He said, "I'm a rock star, but I'm also gonna be like the homeless, sort of bum addict vibe."
And then he never showered.
But he was so committed to it, which I love. He didn't shower. There's stories of like the bar staff, like, yeah, there's a
How
guy.
bad he stunk.
The guy sleeping in the dumpster just came in for a sound check, and he's the singer, and like, and he's like taking a dump in backstage, like flower pots and stuff.
Yeah.
But I love how committed he is, and apparently,
I get it. It's very what do they say when you're an actor and you really, put yourself into
Oh
that
yeah,
role?
what kind of acting is? I can't remember.
Method acting.
Method
or
acting, right?
something. Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. But
Yeah.
here's the thing: this guy was also like rich, because I had to Google this. He's getting.
Was he though?
Yeah, he was.
Because I thought that was a rumor.
No, okay. Here's the thing: because I found the court documents. Everyone.
What?
Yeah, online. Just so his sister is suing him because there's a trust fund set up. His dad owned a bunch of properties, and so when his dad passed away, they got all this property and all this money that comes with rentals, and they cut the sister out and kept it between the mom and this Stanley have this like weird like relationship apparently, but he's super loaded, hey, and so he doesn't have to worry. He's not worried about life. Let's just put it that way. So you could be the bum. You could be living in LA, sleeping in the dumpster. They say he was felt guilty because he had such a luxurious life in reality. But
Okay, so they had one album.
one album, okay. One album. This album comes out.
Silent Majority comes
Oh
out.
man. Okay, starts with a weird vibe. Comes out with like a live. He comes out singing
Live.
on a ukulele.
All of my days, I'm going to keep on loving you.
He does that sort of
Yeah. What do you
live
think of that?
intro. I like it.
I hate it.
You don't like it, but for me, it's part of like the front to back listen where it sort of sets the stage.
But it's
of
like,
what's coming next. Because when I listen, I'm like, I don't like this. I'm like, what's this? Where's this going?
well, they did it in their live shows.
Yeah.
Right? And then they decided that, look, on my opening debut album, we're going to open it with a live track
Yeah.
with him playing ukulele solo. And to me, it kind of, the vibe isn't there. It's
Yeah.
not that great.
But you know what it does do is crashes into like, we're here now, boys and girls.
We're here now, boys and girls. We're here now. We're here now, boys and girls. We're here now. We're here now. We're here now, boys and
Like segues, I think that's like part of the intro song, right?
Yeah,
That goes
yeah.
from that live intro to this sort of second half of the song.
That's the weakest point on the album, the first song.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
For me.
what about the second half of the first song?
What? Your wall, asshole?
Oh yeah.
Hey,
You're
what
all
does that
asshole.
even mean?
I think it's
Your
you're,
wall.
You're all asshole.
I know, but they just spelt it weird.
Yeah. Just because. Okay, so
Because he was homeless?
because he
and
was
he didn't know how to
homeless.
spell?
And he kinda, my favorite part of this album is his slurring of his vocals. Like he sounds homeless. You know what I mean? He sounds like he has problems. And that for me.
He sounds like he's just wasted.
Yeah, that for me made a cool listen because it made the lyrics more convincing. Some of the random sort of things that he sings about, and you're all assholes.
But he's
you know
such
what
a
I mean?
good singer.
Such a good singer. His voice is amazing.
He is a really good singer. I think if they would have ditched the shtick, I think they could have went further and could have had a longevity career.
Maybe.
But I just think it became too much.
Well,
I don't
okay,
know.
if they were too glammy, though, they would have been killed out when grunge came
Well,
in.
they
Anyways.
weren't really glammy though. Their songs aren't glammy.
Well, I think originally they were a bit more glam rock, but they're also like Chicago power pop kind of vibe too.
So what's your favorite tracks?
Oh man, "Schools for Fools" comes out. Sounds like a Twisted Sister song.
Good song. Good song. Fun listen.
Telephone Call was the other
Telephone
single.
Call to Jesus.
I made a telephone call to Jesus. Is it true you'll never leave us? Is it true that you throw them all out the door? Out the door.
And his voice is great. I love the changes on
Yeah.
that tune.
I really like Hey Buddy.
Oh man,
And Hey Buddy's a different vibe, right? Hey Buddy.
that is one of my favorite songs of all time. I find myself singing that quite a bit when I'm driving.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Guatemala.
Guatemala is like a weird, like, randomly band plays on and the singer kind of just
They
mumbles
shoot
along.
the children
it,
in Guatemala City. So weird.
So cool, yeah. It's all over the place. Hey Buddy's my favorite. Train comes out. It's like just more straight ahead rock.
Straight ahead. Train's a great song.
Great song. Farm Song is kind of like this, like in the van, they're driving down the highway.
They got the chickens and the roosters and the cows in the co. And a second verse, same as the first. Oh, I've been around, seen lots of cities, lots of towns I've been around. I lived in Chicago.
What about Tank?
Tank, man. Tank is a fire song. That was the video, right? Kind of their first release. When it kicks in, I'm a tank, I'm a tank. I'm a tank, I'm a tank.
I'm a tank.
So good.
So cool.
Lyrics, not the most brilliant, right?
Well, it gets the point across.
It does,
Yeah.
it does. What a killer track, though.
For me, this was like a bit of a personal anthem as I was a kid. Hey, like this, like I'm a tank, you know what I mean? Just kind of like plowing through people and stuff. And
Yeah.
this is what caught my attention for the band. I just love that chorus. It was so simple. The guy's voice is super rad.
Repetitive, simple,
Yep.
brilliant. Do, 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 do.
Okay, on that riff, the bass player plays like an 8-string bass.
Yes.
And that's why it comes in with that extra heaviness. That I think that's why Cory Taylor's version.
Whoa! Cory Taylor.
Oh, yes.
Cory Taylor from Slipknot recorded Tank.
Just released it.
last month, I think.
Yeah.
For Record Store Day or something. On that Covers album. Anyways, he does a version of Tank. He's always been a fan. I remember reading articles. He was like, I love this album.
Yes.
It's one of my favorites. And I thought,
Because who wouldn't?
yeah. Well, I thought, like, how cool is that? Like, a big rock star, hey, like, loves an album that
Yeah.
I felt was a bit underground, hey, a little bit. But
So, Cory Taylor put out that album of all covers.
I'm a tank, 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 I'm a tank.
Tank is, I think, the first song on the album.
I don't know. Third, maybe?
No, I think
Can't
it's the
remember.
first.
Is it the first?
I think so.
Check it out, man.
I don't know. But anyways, he does a great version of it. Not quite as good.
Doesn't capture the magic.
Stanley just has this magic about him, and I don't think that can ever be replicated.
I know, hey.
But Cory Taylor's version is really good.
I was stoked to hear it, and I'm stoked that if anyone covers it and releases a LSD cover, how cool is that?
I like that someone brought attention back to LSD.
LSD, yeah. Raise a Little Hell.
Raise a Little hell. Good song.
That was a good tune. It was just like comes along.
Yeah.
Guatemala City or Guatemala, I guess.
Guatemala.
Okay, that period of time, I remember like a lot of bands were kind of doing like that droney kind of banging on a riff and the singer rants kind of thing. So that's what this song is a little bit like. Hey, but like what is he talking about? You know what I mean? When I first heard it, I was like, just like, how cool is this guy that he can just like come out with this so random stuff? And what's he talking about? It's the coolest song I've ever heard. You know what I mean?
It's just
just
goes
rant,
on
just
forever.
rants on
Great
for like
song.
5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, I love it.
And it's super
I love
dynamic.
it. It's unique.
You know what it reminds me a little bit? It's like something like Jim Morrison and the Doors would do. Hey, if
Yeah.
you know that kind of like
Just stuck on that riff.
stuck on that riff and just being like poetic over top, sort of.
Yeah.
In his mentally ill way.
You know, it was a refreshing change from what was going on, really,
Yeah.
in the music scene. Like, the music scene was getting
That's what I felt, too.
pretty predictable. It was getting a little saturated. And obviously, they talk about, okay, well, all the glam metal bands and everything else, like, it started to kind of sound the same. And you had your
Yeah,
W
third or
bands
fourth
and you had your-
generation.
So,
It was getting too. I think rock and roll in general was getting too samey. You know what I mean? Everything was a watered down version of like Crew and Def Leppard. Everyone's trying to aspire to that. So when this band comes out, I was stoked, man.
yeah, I love it. I love it. And now, being a little older, having not played this album for a long time, and coming back to it, like, what a great trip to revisit
man.
this album. This album is like, there's some really strong material.
It's super good. It's aged
Great songs.
so well.
Yeah.
Okay? Doesn't sound dated. It
No.
doesn't sound irrelevant.
It's
It
really
sounds-
good.
Like, I'm still into it. It's amazing. First of all, they go in the big black bush, right? It's sort of...
Big black bush.
how does he say it? Big,
Big, big, big, big, big, big.
Big black boys. Big, walking naked to the corner store.
To me, that sounds like something like Primus would have done. Hey?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. So to me, it wasn't like too far out of the
No.
reach. Yeah.
Lyrics
The
are
album-
kind of dumb.
Yeah, I mean, but
But
it fit the mood of the album and the
But
singer.
Big Black Bush, the killer riff at the end, like that song, if you take the lyrics aside, and I get whatever you can say, they're childish or they're stupid or whatever else,
Yeah.
but take that aside and just think about the music. And when it goes into that ending part, that total transition, epic endings.
I know, hey.
It is so great.
What's with this album? It's like a lost classic. What does it end on?
Rise Above,
Rise Above.
piano, Stanley, crazy stinky Stanley, just
lamenting.
him and the keys.
Just tinkling the ivory, you know what I mean?
Man, but what a great performance.
Yeah, great tune. He sings it so like emotionally, hey, that it's like really, I don't know.
I love it.
It's interesting to listen to because you sort of feel like his vibe, you know, that he's presented from the start of the album. We're here now to like Lonely Him at the end of it.
Yeah.
Kind of like getting past everything. Man, and it's a great tune. It's really, you got to check it out. I think it's one of
If you haven't listened to it, check it out. I'm glad that you introduced me to it back in the day in 1992.
Oh man, I'm stoked.
But I'm glad that I revisited this album again later in my life. And now it's constantly in my playbook.
I know, right?
This is a great, great album. The songs are there. The guy sings amazing. The players are great.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that his crazy persona kind of hurt them more than helped them in the long run.
Right. But well, here's the thing, hey man, and we talked about this earlier. Do you think if he was more glam rock, average frontman, would they have been able to put this album out convincingly? You know what I mean? Or is like playing that part of the homeless, mentally ill guy and slurring his vocals and making no sense, sort of give it like some validation in a weird way.
Maybe they were the perfect band to transition from the hair metal classics
Oh,
into
but-
the
never thought about
alternative
that.
grunge.
Yeah.
They were the transition band that had to occur.
Well, I feel like this band was kind of like, it could have went grunge, it could have been hair metal.
Could have been alternative. Could have been metal.
It could have been everything that was happening.
Could have
at
been
the time.
grunge. Could have been hair metal.
Yeah.
Could have been everything.
Yeah, they all have that glam rock roots, I think. Hey, because they're doing the hair flips. They got a wall of amps. The drummer is like twirling the sticks. The bass player is like got the moves. You know, like they got the moves. And then the singer is this homeless guy,
He's got the moves.
and he's got the moves. This is by far some of the best frontman moves I've ever seen. When he does this M thing that he does, and he does like this goofy arm thing. I love how he works it into the set, man. Like he's like he does this.
We should just have a whole bunch of videos of you doing moves.
Stanley
Stanley moves.
This guy is probably one of the
Hashtag
best.
Stanley moves.
One of the best frontman, and he does the microphone flips, and he
It's the
like
best.
prowls the stage. He
Love
works
it.
the crowd. It's amazing. Goes out
Here,
to the audience, kicks over their drinks. How cool is that?
Where's this? The old LSD cassette. Gotta get a close up so I can get a close up on Stanley. What is this ripped falls apart? Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Big black bush.
Big.
LSD. I'm a fan.
Life, Sex, and Death,
Yep.
LSD, Silent Majority. Check out the album front to back. It's worth the listen. And I think you have to front to back it at least the first time to get the vibe. You know what I mean? Like get into the band.
You really have to.
Yeah,
you have
you
to
have to.
force yourself.
You have to like ride the emotion of the album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Front to end.
I agree.
And then it makes sense a little bit because you can't just like pick out a tune because you're going from Tank to Farm Song. To
Okay, but look.
fucking shit ass. You know?
But then, what about the follow up?
Okay, the band gets dropped. I don't know why. Probably because the frontman, homeless guy, was kind of
Because he was standing on tables and kicking over drinks and stuff while people
Yeah.
were watching the
Oh
game.
yeah, that's right. And so like, kudos to him for being like committed to the task.
Committed.
He's just as committed as David Lee Roth is to being David Lee Roth.
more committed than David
More
Lee
committed
Roth.
than David Lee Roth. So man, yeah. So I don't think it flew very well, but on YouTube there's some demos of their
Great
what would have been
videos.
their second album.
Yep. Some demos are out there.
That's too bad, man, because there's some like sounds
Would've
like
been
there's
cool.
some really cool music, and it would have been cool to hear like getting it together, you know, in more realized, I guess, version. But
Oh well.
but there's like live videos of this guy, the band
So great.
playing live, and it comes out and does this whole thing, and like, you know, how many years has it been? I don't even know, like 30 years.
It's the best though.
Yeah, it's still like
You know-
watching the videos. I'm like, this guy. They could have been like a bigger band,
They could have been bigger.
No.
They could have been bigger.
but we're
They-
still talking about them.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know why. We're
Oh,
talking about
it's that good though. It's that good.
But we're gonna put some links. We'll put some links
Yeah.
down to the videos. These guys, check them out. If you haven't checked them out, just go do yourself a favor and
If you're a rock fan, definitely like check
Yeah.
out this band if you haven't already.
Stanley, call us up. Call us up. We'll do an interview. You can be on the Rock and Danger show. Huh?
We could do it inside the dumpster.
Inside the dumpster with Stanley. Yeah. As long as he didn't dump in the stir.
Living it all the way. Time to fly, hit the sky like a mother.
Right on, Rock and Danger out.
Out.
Don't be homeless,
Don't be a homeless rock star.
rock stars. There's probably like more homeless rock stars, hey? Like
Oh,
in
maybe.
reality, you know? Hey, it ends on hey buddy.
Hey, buddy. That was the end of side one. Train, wet your lips. Guatemala. Big
Classic second
black
side.
rose.
Second.
Big, 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 big. Ah, big.